The Denver Broncos, they had a very, very interesting offseason. A lot of different things going into all the different things that they did, bringing in guys like Russell Wilson, that I think is honestly, that might be one of the most, it might be one of the biggest trades in the history of the Denver Broncos franchise. Also, potentially also in the history of the NFL. I don't know. But the Herschel Walker trade for my Vikings, that was kind of monumental. But anyway, let's get back into it. So today we're talking about the top questions and headlines heading into training camp for the Denver Broncos. But no, this is before training camp. But overall, I'm excited. We're getting closer and closer to that first preseason game. And I think at the end of the day, we are all in the same boat. We want it to be here right now. We want it to be here right now. And I'm so excited. So maybe you guys couldn't tell. And yes, I had my morning coffee this morning. And I think we need to get into it. So this most recent thing that we brought to the podcast is really just looking at a lot of like FANSIDED articles, a lot of other creators out there that write these articles that do fantastic jobs that we want to shed a light on, as well as bring you guys extra content as well. And yes, we will put a link down in the description to give them credit, and also you guys go check out the article because there's a lot that goes into these articles that deserve a lot of credit. So we'll jump right into it here. The latest FANSIDED article for the Denver Broncos, 7 major takeaways for the Broncos as OTAs come to a conclusion. Written by Sarah Bettinger. I know I didn't even get that close to correct, but I got to give him credit. This was a fantastic article, and somebody you need to go follow on Twitter and all that because they did fantastic on this. Really pointed out, we're not we cover all the NFL teams, but when you get articles like this, that can really outline all the different things that take away for an NFL team, it's tremendous. So right off the bat, they mentioned talking about what the Denver Broncos did in the offseason, hiring a new coach, trading for Russell Wilson, solidifying new ownership. Like this, that would be a lot for any NFL team, but the Broncos did it. And there's a lot of different things that are kind of coming with it. So I think at the end of the day, the Broncos are a team that they've had a lot of change, but I do think it's going to, on paper, it's looking very positive for the Broncos. So takeaway number 7, going down all the way down to 1 here. I think it's Michael O.J. Moody that I think that's how you pronounce it here. I'm going to make sure that I get this right because I have gotten it. Okay, Michael O.J. Moody. Because I Googled it once already, and I'm trying to make sure I get all these guys' names right. But at the end of the day, it is pretty tough. Like there's O.J. Moody. I think there's another the Broncos tight end who I think here we actually got his
Albert Okwuegbunam.
Albert Okwuegbunam. Okay, sorry. Back onto the subject at hand here. So Michael O.J. Moody. We got to get this. Okay, O.J. Moody. There we go, O.J. Moody. Okay, so Albert O.J. Moody, I felt like long name, hard name, but going to be an even better player. Maybe that's a great way to say it, maybe not. Anyway, so it talks about some of the more underrated needs being for the Denver Broncos, that outside cornerback position. You would not think that being the case when you got guys like Pat Surtain in the first round of last year's draft and who immediately was a stud, but it's true. So it talks about how Kyle Fuller did not work out as a free agent acquisition last year. Bryce Callahan playing well in the slot. But other than that, it is something special to have 2 guys on the outside that can make something happen. So here's what it said. In the final game of the 2021 season, O.J. Moody started in place of an injured Pat Surtain II and did quite well, reminding us all of the tremendous potential he showed through his up and down rookie season. Finished with 11 tackles, a pair of pass breakups. Now he's been arguably the talk of OTAs for the Denver Broncos, proving he deserves a spot in the lineup one way or the other. So, I think this is obviously it's big when you can have a guy that really challenges to get some of those different types of the different type of credit, and also just he's fighting for a spot just like everybody else. So I'm really excited for him, and I think at the end of the day, when you can have another shutdown corner or another corner on that opposite end of a guy that's a shutdown corner that does play up to near or at that potential, that's so exciting. And plus, it really makes it hard for opposing defenses, and that's something that that most teams would be lucky to have. Denver Broncos OTA takeaway number 6. Kendall Hinton becoming a Russell Wilson favorite. I love it. Talks about first sentence. When a new quarterback comes in, you want to get chemistry with him as quickly as possible if you're a new receiver. Kendall Hinton, they also kind of I think maybe it was this one, maybe it was another article, but anyway, but they talk about Kendall Hinton here. He's and when you have a new quarterback coming in, like I agree with that so much. Like you want a favorite target, you want that security blanket, somebody they can throw the football to. Like no matter what the personnel is, okay, they know that person is on the field and they can take a shot at them. I absolutely love it. So I know another line that I love here. There seems to be a bond forming between these two. Absolutely, it's so underrated. Like people always talk about all the different things that go into the relationships with quarterbacks. backs of wide receivers. And I feel like that's such a huge thing with Russell Wilson coming into a talented offense, yes, but not having any continuity right out the gate. So, and I do believe that it's mentioned later in the article here that that he does hold that San Diego camp to tap out and get continuity with those wide receivers. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So we continue here talking about, this relationship. I think, this is actually interesting. I didn't know he was a former quarterback either. So Hinton can play both in the slot, and you can give him something after the catch. He may not be the most dynamic athlete, but he has a knack for getting open. That's so huge, and I also know that talked about that a little bit as well, getting open. Like, that's just one of those things where sometimes you can't teach it. Like, you can have the speediest guy, you can have a guy that can run the best routes, but at the end of the day, you can't. When a guy can just get open, that's so valuable to an NFL team. Let's see. Denver Broncos takeaway number 5. Baron Browning is a full-time edge. I'm so excited for Baron Browning. So, there was a little bit of question of what's going to go on with Baron Browning in terms of, is he going to be that off-ball linebacker guy, or is he going to be an edge defender? But apparently, according to Bettinger here, that is apparently not the case. So Browning apparently has been working exclusively with other pass rushers on the roster, and as we get deeper into OTAs, it's becoming clear that he's here to stay. So, that is to me, it's so valuable to have all those different pass rushers, all those different guys that can do all those different things for your defense. Because even if you have a premier guy, those premier guys, sometimes they need a break. You got Bradley Chubb, running down the list here like they provided. It's huge. Bradley Chubb, Randy Gregory, Nick Benito, the former Sooner, Baron Browning coming up, Malik Reed, Jonathan Cooper. Like, there is no shortage of talent for the Denver Broncos at that edge rushing position, and I'm really excited about it. So, and it raises another interesting question. Bettinger did a really good job in this article talking about, do they have a trade on the horizon? I absolutely think that's something you consider. Now, again, it also does say after training camp, because you never know in terms of injuries what can happen. But when you have 6 guys, it's going to be tough for all 6 of these guys to get on the field. But if you could have, 4, maybe 5 guys, you might want to trade 1 or 2 players away. But at the end of the day, it's also very valuable to have a guy, an extra guy on the roster that can get to the quarterback. So I'm really excited for Baron Browning and all the different things he's going to do on that edge piece. And plus, like he's shown, he can play out that off-ball linebacker position. Denver Broncos OTA takeaway number 4, Travis Fulgham impressing. A lot of you remember Travis Fulgham. I think, what was it? He had like 4 touchdowns through, what was it? Oh yeah, it says it right here. 4 touchdowns through the 2022 NFL season, through the first 5 games, excuse me. So, I think when you're coming in with a new quarterback that's looking for some continuity in terms of that wide receiver position, and like I said, also on a side note here, we've already covered it. The Denver Broncos are a very talented team. They've got a lot of different things going for them, but overall, I think when you have that extra wide receiver that is fighting for a roster spot, I mean, that's exciting. You have a guy that is going to claw with his fingernails, to quote Al Pacino from Any Given Sunday, great movie. But overall, you have a guy that just claws with his fingernails to be able to get that spot. It's exciting because it creates competition. It brings out the best in everybody, and that's exactly what you need here. So Travis Fulgham here, he's gotten some attention from the media with an impressive string of practices dating back to the start of OTAs. Yes, and I think at the end of the day, when you look at a guy like Fulgham, when you look at this receiving core with the Denver Broncos, you got to be nothing but excited because you got a good quarterback, you got some guys to throw to, and that offensive line is coming together as well. Denver Broncos takeaway from OTA's number 3, Greg Dulcich. Hype train is chugging. I loved Greg Dulcich coming out of UCL. Dude's a stud. I felt like, okay, if team could get him, in that, the 4th to 7th rounds, like the day 3 type pick, I love it. I think that's a huge type steal. And I think Greg Dulcich could be a huge time steal for the Denver Broncos. Now, here's the moment of truth. Here we go. Albert Okwuegbunam. There we go. Albert Okwuegbunam. Obviously going to be that guy that you have here at tight end as the starter. But Greg Dulcich apparently has been getting a lot of love, and you absolutely love to see it. Our rookie coming out, and again, I think it's getting more and more common to see double tight end sets for a lot of NFL teams, and I think this could be something that you take a look at. But I think he's obviously going to be, like it mentions here in the last part of the article, he's going to be in the throwing sessions in July at Russell Wilson's San Diego Chalet. And I think that when you get this type of guy in your building, it just makes your entire roster better. Even if you have a number 1 tight end already, just have someone that's pushing him, that's going to continue making this team better. I love it. I'm really excited for a guy like Greg Dulcich. Denver Broncos OTA number 2, Jonas Griffith solidifying starting job now. I believe it talks about here Josie Jewell, the former 4th-round pick out of 2018. George Payton calling Jewell the glue of the defense. A guy you're going to want to keep around. I believe he signed a 2-year deal. Yeah, and then also it talks a little bit about how Jonas Griffith here really stepping up in 13 games, 4 starts, 46 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and a fumble recovery. And it really just solidifies that up here with the last sentence. It looks like the team is expecting a breakout year from Griffith in 2022, and based on what we saw last year, it's hard to say they're going to be wrong. And again, obviously it talks about Jewell, it talks about Griffith, but having that other, at least a depth piece at linebacker is so huge. And I know that a linebacker was a little bit of a question for the Denver Broncos, and having that continuity, having that guy that can step up and be there, it's exciting, and it's a big part of your defense, and it's something that you really need to make sure you have, because injuries happen, all those different things kind of happen. So when you can have it, that's definitely big as well. And then finally, OTA takeaway number 1 for the Denver Broncos. KJ Hamler is healing at a rapid pace. I got to bring it back here for a second. I got to bring it. Okay, I got to click. I can't click today. Okay, I got to bring it back here. They took a shot at my Vikings, talking about how KJ Hamler completely just roasted the Vikings defense a couple of preseason. Was it last year, the year before that? I get it. Yeah, I get it. It is a shot coming. I understand it. He absolutely did shred the Vikings defense, but I think he's going to continue to be a big part of this offense, and I think he is honestly one of those players that is so explosive that it does do all these different things for the Denver Broncos offense that I think it's definitely hard to ignore. And now with a quality quarterback like Russell Wilson, it's going to be really fun to watch. Now it talks about the former 2nd-round pick out of Penn State surprisingly popped up in the earliest videos of Russell Wilson hosting throwing sessions in San Diego. Yes, loving it. Hamler's out there dazzling with some speed once again in practice, and if he isn't 100%, he's certainly fooled pretty much everyone. Hamler's progress and recovery this offseason has been nothing short of stunning, and it seems like it may be a pleasant surprise to all. And honestly, when you see a player go down with injury, you never are happy about that, but you're happy to see this guy coming back, healing at a rapid pace, going to be a big part of that offense, and I'm excited about it. I think at the end of the day, when you have all these different weapons, it's hard to decide who you're going to get the football to, but it also makes it tougher for defenses to guard you. So OTA takeaway number 1, KJ Hamler coming back at a rapid pace. You absolutely love to see it. But that's it. That's our top questions and headlines for the Denver Broncos before training camp, and again, we'll provide a link down in the description for the article. Once again, written fantastic article written by I'm not even going to try the first name, I apologize, Bettinger. Fantastic article, giving them all the shout outs. You can bet we'll follow them on Twitter and everything, but overall it's going to be in the description down below that link. Make sure you guys check it out. Also, make sure to give us a listen and sub on iTunes, and if you guys have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about the top questions and headlines for the Denver Broncos before heading into training camp.